and Naga Nightmares community. Before we get into today's video, I have some news. I want to hear your chilling tales. If you have any horror stories, true crime experiences, or paranormal encounters, please share them with me. Your stories could be featured in an upcoming video on the channel, helping to shine a light on Nagaland's untold horrors. Send your stories to Naga Nightmares Mail.com. Can't wait to read what you've got. You can also find the email link on video and channel description. Now let's dive into today's video.
It was Christmas night in the early 1990s. Arengma village in Nagaland was aglow with warmth and joy. The traditional campfire crackled outside the host's house, casting flickering shadows on the faces of the gathered villagers. Macy, a young girl with sparkling eyes, laughed and chatted with her friends, basking in the festive atmosphere. As the night wore on, the villagers began to bid each other farewell, their voices carrying into the chilly night air. Macy and her friends reluctantly said their goodbyes, shouldering their bags and setting off into the darkness. The village lacked electricity, and the only light came from the stars twinkling above. The group walked together, their footsteps echoing through the stillness, until one by one they reached their respective homes. Macy, however, still had a few hundred meters to go, her path winding down an isolated road. The silence began to unsettle her, and she quickened her pace. Suddenly she heard footsteps behind her. Steady, deliberate steps that seemed to match her own. Macy's heart skipped a beat as she turned around, expecting to see fellow villagers, but there was no one. The darkness seemed to swallow everything. Panic set in, her breath catching in her throat. She hastened her pace, her eyes scanning the shadows. The footsteps grew louder, closer. Macy's heart raced as she reached her front door, fumbling for the handle, but it wouldn't budge. Her mother was asleep inside, and the door seemed stuck. As she turned to face the darkness, a chill ran down her spine. Two figures emerged from the shadows behind her home's compound fencing. An old lady and a child, their faces twisted into grotesque, demonic grins. Macy's scream lodged in her throat. Just as suddenly, the door swung open, and Macy stumbled inside, slamming it shut behind her. She collapsed against the door, gasping for breath, her heart pounding in her chest. The warmth of the fireplace and the soft glow of the candles inside seemed to offer little comfort. Macy's eyes remained fixed on the door, her mind reeling with the image of the demonic figures. She knew that the darkness outside still lurked, waiting patiently, and she wondered if she'd ever be able to shake off the feeling of being watched. The night had turned from joyful to terrifying, leaving Macy with a haunting memory that would linger forever.